Hello and welcome back to Nightmare Rex Part 3 now. We're going to enter the catacombs of... what is it called? The Pallid Mask. So I've already set up everything. We had no special relations with the intro because we didn't... what is the name? I think Ichimaru. We didn't interview Ichimaru. So far so good. We're starting at the Gate of Hell. That is the man. He's removed from our deck. The only change I did was use the 5 XP I got last scenario and the one I had from the one before that. To just take 2 studios. So let's go straight into a mulligan. Okay, so far so good. That is very obvious. I want to mulligan those 2. I think I want to keep Think on Your Feet. Not quite sure. Test something. It works. Not too readable full time, but at least it worked. I set up the stream chat, not that there is any, but just in case, so you can follow it later on YouTube as well. And what do I want to mulligan away as well? I think Art Student is useful at the beginning. 1 knowledge is power. Either everything or I'm keeping those. 1 Think on Your Feet. And the calling in favors as well. I want to keep Art Student. Okay, now the curse. And unfortunately an astounding. Okay, so let's see what we are going to do. Pretty sure the first thing is play Mr. Rook. And immediately use him. Obviously for 9 cards, because why would I do anything else? So I could go for the manuscripts, which I believe I do. Yep, getting those quickly is useful. 2 resources for the astounding revelation. So far, so good. Now, do I want to play those manuscripts or do I want to use actually use knowledge as power? Because I actually like this location just for my ability, just to use it for once. Last action would be move, I believe. So I don't really like that. So I'm going to take the slow approach and take a resource, play narcotic. Yep. Take a resource, play this. Okay. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 1 and encounter cards. Okay, this is 2 cards at one. My mouse isn't working too well. Spawn, discard. No, we don't have a humanoid enemy, so it gains Surge. Now we do. Okay. So far, so okay. First of all, Mr. Rook. Get Astounding and Dark Pact. Could use Decoy. Just evade this. But I need resources for that, so I believe Cryptic Research it is. And I want 2 resources for Astounding Revelation. Cryptic Research, draw 3. So far, so okay. First action is Knowledge is Power, evade. Actually I... Can't move. So I would need to evade this guy once again. Want to get rid of some cards from my hand. So I'm pretty sure I want to play Laboratory Assistant. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Play Laboratory Assistant. Draw 2 cards, gain... no resources, why would I do that? Okay, now the question is, do I want to Knowledge is Power this location still? And the answer to that question is yes. I'm going to investigate and discover those 2 clues. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. And let's see, I'm going to take a test that would mean 2 damage. Which I should be fine with. Just making sure. Yep. I'm not going to use anything on that, I believe. 2 damage, 1 damage on Mr. Rook, 1 damage on myself. So now we have 10 cards, which is fine. Doom number 2, encounter cards. Okay, we want to leave this location. Mr. Rook. To draw Cryptic Writings, now that we have 10 cards in hand, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, and just to make sure I don't draw anything else, no. So far so good. First action is going to be how important is it to get rid of that? Not too important. Do I have any allies left in my deck? Yes, like 2 allies. Like 1 decoy. So what I'm debating is, do I want to use Calling in Favors? Or do I want to take an attack of opportunity and use Manuscripts? Manuscripts is the safer choice. Which is why I believe I want to do that. First action, take an attack of opportunity. Take it on my laboratory assistant. Second action, evade. This guy. Last action, 1, 2, 3 resources for Pathfinder, and I'm going to use him to move here. Oh, of course, I need to discard 1 clue for that, and to the right there's a new location. So unfortunately, not able to do anything with that this turn. So that means discard some cards. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource, and we draw Mr. Rook, which is a shame as well. So, discard Mr. Rook. And discard Astounding Revelation. Okay. This thing readies. Doom number 3. And countercard. Oh, I think this is discarded. And countercards another pit below. Yeah. Nothing to care about. So let's have a look at our options. I believe I want to Pathfinder as my first action. Or before my first action. Top 3. Above, below, and to the right. Above, below, to the right. Okay. So I don't need to discover clues here. I could discover clues here. So my first action is use Calling in Favors to get Mr. Rook to my hand. For laboratory assistant. Okay. Now I believe I want to spend this clue and actually move somewhere. So above. After I end my turn here. Okay. Put the topmost catacombs into play above, below, or to the right. Above it is. And 4 Shroud. That is looking interesting enough. Which will mean my last action is play. Actually, I think Mr. Rook is even better. Yeah, I'm going to play Working a Hunch, discover this clue. Which also means I'm going to play Crack the Case to gain 5 resources. And I'm going to spend 3 of those for Mr. Rook as my last action, because working a hunch is fast. So, my curse, and I believe I want to think on your feet. Upkeep. So draw a card, gain a resource. Did I shuffle this? I think I did. And doom number 4, and counter cards. For each point you thereby take 1 horror. So oh, I forgot to take a direct horror here. So I'm actually at 3 right now. And this would mean 1 on myself and 1 on each other card, which seems fine. One here, 1 horror here, 1 horror here. Mr. Rook for I should have done it differently. For the segment, nevertheless. Let's see. I actually want to play Lone Wolf, but I could do it still. Yeah, just take the segment. Use Pathfinder to move here. Right. Okay. Use my first action to move here. After you would move from here, from the narrow shaft to an unrevealed location. Okay. The topmost above or to the right? Above it is. Okay, so annoying. And only 2 shroud. Second action is play Lone Wolf. Last action is going to be actually second action is going to be draw a card, and last action is going to be play Lone Wolf, and I'm going to play 1 segment. So upkeep happens. Doom number 5 and counter cards. After you leave attached location, take 1 horror or lose 1 action. Okay. That is very okay. Mr. Rook. Let's see what you bring. I believe an occult lexicon. First action, spend 1 secret and do something testlessly. Of course, Lone Wolf triggers, that's important. Then I'm going to Pathfinder to the catacombs, which means I take 1 horror on Mr. Rook, actually. Or can I get rid of enough cards? Obviously, I lost this clue as well. Yeah, I'm going to take it on the laboratory assistant. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Above, below, to the right. Okay, not the location we wanted. So let's see what our options are. And move before I discover at least one clue. My second action is going to be play a lexicon. Take one blood right to my hand and two to my deck. And my last action is going to be play blood right. Discard Forewarned and discard Art Student for 2 resources, which I'm going to use to assemble the pendant. And I'm going to use this pendant to discover this clue. Okay, so far so good. Upkeep phase, draw a card, gain a resource. Get rid of Search the Truth. Doom number 6, so this is going to advance. And we have something hunting us from this location. Okay, encounter cards. Crypt Chill. Okay, let's see what we're going to do with this. Either playing Forewarned or discarding an asset. So I could discard the manuscripts just to be able to replay those. Or discard Mr. Rook. Yeah, that's not really worth it. I'm going to take the test and discard Mr. Rook. Okay, so now I want to use Pathfinder to move here. Take 2 damage, you cannot leave this round. So, yay, I guess. This is just going to be wasted then. Nevertheless, I'm going to use Pendant to discover this clue. I'm going to use Bloodright to draw 2 cards. discard working a hunch. And decoy for 1-2 resources. Then I'm going to play an art student and draw 1 card. What a wasted turn. Enemy phase, he moves, upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. And Doom, encounter cards. Nearest unrevealed location. Which is either this or that. It's going to be this. Okay. Actually, it's going to be here. Do I want to enter this location? I believe I do. First of all, Lone Wolf, then Pathfinder, and my first action is move to this catacombs. I can look at any unrevealed catacombs from here. And the catacombs are into play left and right. Okay, so 1 here. My second action is going to be play Calling in Favors and take my art student back to my hand, which is an astounding revelation and laboratory assistant. And that revelation will be used to add another secret here. Draw 2 cards. My last action is going to be play Mr. Rook and use Mr. Rook for Lost Soul. How many cards do I have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, unfortunately. So can't really do anything this turn. Might as well get resources. 3 resources. And I'm going to use the pendant to discover this clue. And I'm still taking this test. I'm just going to pass. Enemy phase, he hunts, upkeep. Draw a card, gain a resource. Doom, and counter cards. A ravenous ghoul. So that should be something I want to use Think on Your Feet on. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get this clue then, or get this shroud value then. Advance to Act 1B. So I found the man. While the man is at the tomb, he gets +1 per investigator health and cannot be defeated by his investigation ability. Okay. And I believe I need to either spend clues or get the man. Let me just leading the way was the one that... Okay, so leading the way is the one we usually want, because that doesn't discard any victory point locations. So that would be spending clues. But we have all options available. Lone Wolf, Mr. Rook, Astounding Revelation, Cryptic Research. Or actually, do I have... I have icons in my hand. Yeah, Knowledge is Power is better than Cryptic Research. Probably. So, Astounding Revelation for another secret here. First action is use Knowledge is Power, investigate, commit search for the truth. I'm up by 3, which means I'm taking those 2 clues and I'm going to use that to get a little bit richer. Okay, so far so good. Now let's see. I'm going to play Calling in Favors and take Mr. Rook back to my hand. Unfortunately, it's an art student. So that didn't work out. That was my second action. My third action is just going to be play Mr. Rook again over this art student. And use him for 9 cards in case that isn't obvious. Or such. I'm going to obviously take the Astounding for another manuscripts. And I'm going to take Cryptic Research and play that to draw some cards. Okay, I have all the blood right I need. It's just a matter of getting them to align. Okay, enemy phase, he hunts. And upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 3 and counter cards. Okay, so I'm going to have to look behind me sometime soon. But that should be fine. Lone Wolf, Pathfinder. Right to those 2 enemies. First action is... Actually, first things first, Mr. Rook. To get this working hunch. First action, play Blood Right, obviously I want to pay 2 resources and discard Art Student and Working a Hunch. 2 damage it is. Second action, same thing. Draw 2, discard Mr. Rook and Working a Hunch. I don't want to discard Decoy. I like having that option. It'll be fine. Mr. Rook and Working a Hunch. Pay 2, 1, 2. To deal 2 damage here. And again, Blood Right. Draw 2. Discard Laboratory Assistant and Decoy. Pay 2. Do I want to keep the assistant? No. Pay 2. And deal 1 damage here. And kill this victory point. Actually just discarding 1 because I don't need this damage at all. So I'm going to still do things. I'm going to assemble my lovely pendant. And this pendant is going to say something. Probably discover a clue. Or do I want to move? Don't need that clue too much, so I can just take the move right over here. So that's sorted out, and I'm going to lose all my resources. This is gone. He's still in a threat area, so he's going to attack. He's going to kill the laboratory assistant. And that's the upkeep. Take 1 horror on Mr. Rook. Doom number 4. Encounter cards. Another shadow. So let's see, first of all that, then Mr. Rook for 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Astounding, and back the case, I believe. No, calling in favors. So that means I want the resources from Astounding. Then I'm going to use the pendant to evade. Use the pendant? Actually no. I have Decoy, I may as well play it. Play Decoy to evade this enemy. And actually use Pathfinder to move here. When this is revealed, above and to the right, so this is going to be our last catacomb location, to the right. So that's another clue gone. I believe I want to spend another clue and an action just to move. While you're investigating here, I have 1 fewer hand slots. So that's fine. out like I'm planning to. Play Calling in Favors, get Mr. Rook back to my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, Astounding Revelation and Art Student. Actually, no, not Art Student, Laboratory Assistant. I don't want to discover this clue yet. Draw 2. Oh, my Astounding is going to be a secret. And then I'm getting Lost Soul. I want to pass, so I'm going to commit Mr. Rook. And one secret, obviously. Then I'm going to discover this clue. And I'm going to use all my resources again. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource, do number 5, encounter cards. Grasping Hands. I don't really want to deal with that. Only question is Forewarned or a secret, and I believe a secret it is. Lone Wolf helps. Art Student helps. This clue is mine. Crack the Case says I have 3 resources. My second action is going to be use those resources to play Mr. Rook over this Art Student. And I'm going to use Mr. Rook immediately for 9 cards. And I believe I want to take this Calling in Favors. Question now is, I want to... What do I do with my last action? I'm going to Pathfinder here. I believe one of those locations is a victory point. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, it doesn't matter, I can just go around and look into everything. So that means I'm going to use the pendant to move to this location here. And my last action is going to be draw a card. Upkeep, another card, a resource. Do number 6, encounter cards. Nearest unrevealed location, so unfortunately he's going to spawn right besides the other guy. That's annoying, but that's probably okay. Lone Wolf and No Risk No Fun Pathfinder right here for 1 clue. Okay, I don't care about this location, so I just need to get rid of those enemies. First action, Mr. Rook, or no action obviously. Mr. Rook is going to help us with the blood right, I think. Yeah, that's looking good. Then I'm going to use my first action to play blood right. Draw 2 cards, discard an art student, we don't need those anymore, and search for the truth to kill this enemy. Second action is going to be knowledge is power, evade this enemy. Third action is move out of there. Upkeep happens, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 7. Encounter cards. A ghoul minion. Okay. Let's have a look at our options. Astounding Revelation is an option. And Cryptic Research. And Astounding is going to... Do we have another rook? We have a Laboratory Assistant. Astounding is going to help us with resources. And Cryptic Research is going to be played immediately. Okay, so 2 segments. First action is going to be take an attack of opportunity entirely on Rook. Play Calling in Favors. And play a Laboratory Assistant to draw 2. Then I'm going to use 3 resources to play a Pendant. Question now is what to use the Pendant on. I believe I'm going to use Knowledge is Power to evade this guy. I'm going to use the Pendant to move I don't need to move with the Pendant, but I think I want to move here. My last action is going to be play Cryptic Writings. 3. Pathfinder to this enemy. Enemy phase, he's going to kill a Laboratory Assistant. Upkeep, card and resource. Doom number 8. Encounter cards. For each point you fail by, take 1 horror, which should be fine, but I think I want to play it safe first. Do I even care? No, it's fine, I'm going to fail that. And distribute it as evenly as possible. 2 on Laboratory Assistant and 1 on myself. Then the Pendant is going to say he's evaded. And a Pathfinder, obviously Lone Wolf. I think I want to play Mr. Rook first. So my first action is play Mr. Rook. Then I'm going to Pathfinder to this location. Yes, it's a victory point location, so I made the right call. Let's see, we want to take that. So, first of all, Mr. Rook. 4, think on your feet. Then I'm going to play Working a Hunch for 2. And I'm going to crack this case to get 5 back. And then I believe I want to spend 2 actions to ignore that direct horrors, direct damage it is, right? Or lose 5 resources. I could lose 5 resources, but I want to take a move action and another move action. Actually, that's just a direct horror. So instead of move here, I'm going to take move here. Enemy phase, nothing. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 9, and let's start doing things. Discard a humanoid enemy. Is it any? At any location. So I might as well take this enemy. So I'm not going to bother with him anytime soon. Okay, now let's see. Do I want to kill the man? What was the option? Either defeat the man, which means 2 conviction, or I could go for route. Or just fail the scenario altogether. I believe that means I could go for that special path. No resolution. No, that wouldn't mean anything. I mean, I want to. I'd never played it before. That would mean I would need to take another trauma, though. Good question. Oh, I have to take a small break anyways right now, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. Let's see, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, I was thinking if I want to take that interesting approach, which I believe I like. I think there are no victory points left to be earned here, so it's not like I would care about those. Question is physical trauma or mental trauma? I believe mental trauma it is. Yeah, it'll be fine. So, how to get 4 horror before taking through 5 damage? That's easy, right? Okay, my turn starts. I'm going to take a Lone Wolf resource. I'm going to Pathfinder over here. And I'm going to draw a card. Oh no, he's going to attack me. So, 1 damage here, 1 horror here. I'm going to draw another card. Oh no, he's going to attack me. 1 here, and I take another horror for this, and oh no, draw another card. I'm defeated. All my clues go onto this non-victory point location here. And that's it. Let's hope that resolution is interesting. Oh, actually I forgot I need to play this, so that doesn't even work this way. Because I don't want Dark Pact to spawn. Okay, let's just rewind that quickly, because I need to kill something first. Let's see, go there and just take mental. It's easier, right? Yeah, it is. So instead of using Pathfinder and moving to this location, I'm going to use my pendant. To jump to this location here. Then my first action is going to be engage this man. My second action is going to be move, which is going to inflict an attack of opportunity. And my last action is going to be take another attack of opportunity, play Dark Pact, 1 damage here and 1 damage here. And I'm going to use Mr. Rook to draw a segment. Enemy phase, 1 more horror. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 10, and of course he moved. Obscuring Fog, I don't care. Sorry. So, Obscuring Fog. I'm going to draw a card, and it's done. So, third mental trauma. No conviction or doubt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So. Yeah, everything. Seven victory points. And no resolution. Which means no resolution, so I know the side of the gate. And I must choose whether or not to read the Act 2. And I'm 100% not reading Act 2 because I'm not adding another weakness for sure. Each investigator who reads Act 2 additional experience, no, that's not worth it at all. I believe I'm going to take another random weakness anyways. Yeah, I'm going to take one. So let's hope for the best and let's go for upgrades. 7 experience, so that means I have like all the options. Okay, I will need damage, but I still don't want to include the Necronomicon. I didn't want to go full overpowered this run. So let's see, Glimpse of the Unthinkable. That sounds reasonable. I could go for Logical Reasoning. Would be funny, just to heal a bunch of horror. Oh, obviously another Cryptic Research, so that would be 3. Cryptic Research is great. Okay, I'm actually considering Logical Reasoning. That's not that good of a card. I believe Cryptic Research is 1, and going to get rid of Working Hunch for that. And I might go for a Hallowed Mirror. No, I'm not if I go for Cryptic Research. Let's see. Moment of respite. Respite. I don't know. It's so unfortunate that Seekers don't have good allies to upgrade into. That would be actually enjoyable. Probably just Charisma. Yeah, I like that idea. Just another Charisma. So 7 victory points well spent. Oh, I need a weakness as well. So let's see. Madness, Pact, Cultist, Detective. Add a random basic weakness. Self-centered is a flaw and multiplayer only, so 2 problems with that. Oh my god, okay. Unspeakable Oath, Bloodthirst. And this. Okay, so Bloodthirst begs the question, can I even fulfill that condition with blood rights? But I think it's fine for last scenario, so I'm going to ask that question because I don't want. Let's see, blood right, draw 2 cards. I think overkilling with blood right is able to discard unspeakable Oath, Bloodthirst. So let's take that new deck and go into our next scenario, which is going to be Black Star's Rise. Star's Rise. Anything else for setup that's needed? Yeah, a new Chaos token. So we obviously need another Chaos token here. Now we have 18. Counter deck. Gone. This is just a bunch of set aside things. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Anything I want to do? Dual agendas? No. Okay. Mulligan. Immediately drawing 2 weaknesses. Let's see. Segment, art student. Cryptic writings as well? I believe so. Working a hunch for sure, astounding revelation. So that's... not even sure if I want to keep the second art student. I'm going to keep it, why not? Okay, so 4 of my 6 allies are in my hand. But apart from that, that seems okay. Okay, so 3 resources lie here for anyone to take. First action. Mr. Rook. And Mr. Rook is going to help with an astounding revelation and with Dark Pact. Dark Pact. And he's also going to get us... we already have knowledge is power, so cryptic research, I guess. Yeah, just a quicker start. This is resources. Then cryptic research is 3 cards. Then, come on. Art student is 1 clue. That's my second action. I'm going to play crack the case on that. And my last action is going to be pay 5 for the manuscripts. Upkeep. Draw a card, gain a resource. What a waste of a card draw. Okay, so I believe we're going to start with the Tide Rises. I don't know if that's a good decision or not. Swift Byakuya. Okay, something we want to take care of. Mr. Rook. Okay, we have plenty of weaknesses left. No problems in that regard. I think Pathfinder is going to help us here. Let's see. Need at least 1 more resource. I'm going to take Lost Soul. And I'm going to take Cryptic Research. And draw 3 cards. Okay. And, oh, I'm drawing while I'm doing this. Then I'm doing the test, taking 2 damage. First action, knowledge is power, evade this enemy. Second action. Actually move. Or evade him again next turn. Move. And last action is going to be take a resource and use that to play a segment. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Still one above my threshold, so that's an astounding gone. He readies. Doom number 2, encounter cards. Ancient Evils. That's going to be Doom number 1 there. And let's see what Mr. Rook brings us. That's probably a segment. Yeah, it's going to be a segment. My first action is going to be draw a card. My second action is going to be play Occult Lexicon. My third action is going to be play Bloodrite. To draw 2. Even more rubbish. To discard Mr. Rook. And to discard Laboratory Assistant. To gain 2 resources, I'm going to use those resources to play a pendant, and the pendant is going to keep this enemy away. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 3, encounter cards, an Acolyte. Just going to spawn here. So far so good. Let's see what we want to do here. First action, calling in favors. So we get our last astounding for 2 resources. And we get our laboratory assistant. Draw 2 cards. Okay, crack the case. That's not too bad. So my first action is take a resource. My second action is play Mr. Rook again. I'm going to use Mr. Rook. Before I do that, I'm going to use this clue to... What options do we have? Draw a card. Then I'm going to use Mr. Rook to draw this and Cryptic Writings for 4 resources. So good. My last action is going to be play Pathfinder. Use Pathfinder to move up here. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to use the pendant to discover a clue and crack this case. Enemy phase, he hunts, upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 4 on this agenda. Hunted by Byakuya. Okay. Let's have a look. How bad would that be? I have several options. I have the option to just pretty much pass the test, or just pass the test. To play Forewarned. I'm going to spend one secret, commit decoy and search for the truth, and I'm going to pass this test. I'm going to use Pathfinder to move to this location. I'm going to use Mr. Rook, of course, to take a lone wolf. I'm going to play Bloodright, draw 2, discard. One forewarned. Actually, discard is an art student. Discard an art student to pay 1 and kill the acolyte. I think I want to discard forewarned as well. Just to take one resource, use that up to kill this acolyte. He's gone. And I believe my second action is going to be play a lone wolf. My last action is going to be play a working a hunch and just start getting through this scenario. Okay, so far so good. Oh, and I'm using my pendant to just ignore that enemy further. Upkeep. Draw a card. Gain a resource. Doom number 4. And counter cards. Take 1 horror and discard 1 card from your hand. Which feels like an okay price to pay. So I'm going to start this I'm going to start this test. I'm going to take Mr. Rook. I'm going to take segment. I'm going to fail this test. I'm going to take 1 horror on laboratory assistant. And I'm going to discard forewarned, I believe. Yeah. Okay, so far so good. First things first, Pathfinder here. I must either discard an asset you control or draw the topmost cultist enemy in the encounter discard pile. So that's just an acolyte. With the most safe way, yes. Discard an asset I control. First actual action is going to be move and spend 3 clues to do so. Actually, I just have 2 clues, so I can't even do that. Should have read it beforehand. So I need that clue as well. What a waste. Let's do this then. So my first action actually is going to be play Bloodright to draw 2 cards. My second action is going to be draw a card. Then I'm going to pay 3 resources to play a pendant to get that clue. And then my last action is going to be move. This clue is gone. So, when Abbey Church is revealed. Quarkotique. All. So those are connected. Then we have the tower. Okay. And we have the chapel. Okay. So far so good. That was my last action, so enemy phase, he's hunting, and upkeep. Draw a card, take a horror, gain a resource. Doom number 5, I believe. This thing is going to advance. Encounter discard pile on both tidal terrors. So those things. It has 3 or more doom on it, so 1 doubt. Still below 5, which is fine. And lovely text there. Each copy of Ancient Evils gains Surge. Everyone wants to read something like that. Okay, encounter cards. Now that Agenda 2A is in play, it's getting worse. So that would mean take 2 damage and lose 2 actions. Not a fan of that. I'm going to use Narcotic Manuscripts to pass this test. Okay, so let's have a look at our options. First of all, Lone Wolf. Second of all, calling in favors. Let's call our Rook. Astounding Revelation. And I see art students. But I think I prefer laboratory assistants. Yeah. So this is going to be another secret there. I'm going to draw 2. 3 resources for Mr. Rook to use him immediately. Another astounding. And cryptic research. Astounding for 2 resources this time. Draw 3 cards with cryptic research. My third action is going to be pay 2 to play art student to discover this clue. And to get crack the case money. Then I'm going to use Pathfinder to move here. I'm going to use the pendant to keep this enemy away. And that's it. Upkeep phase, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom and counter cards. So this thing is going to spawn somewhere. Port or chapel. Yeah, let's see if it's going to be a problem later on. Lone Wolf, Mr. Rook, Lost Soul, and Cryptic Research, I believe. Take a Lost Soul test, that's 2 damage. 1 on Mr. Rook and 1 on Art Student. Draw 3 cards. Okay. I need to actually discover this clue sometime. So first action might as well be use Art Student to discover this clue. Second action is going to be that rights do I have left? I'm going to play Knowledge is Power and use my second action to find a guide. Then I'm going to use Pathfinder to move. Then I'm going to pay 2 to discover this clue. I should have done it in a different... Never mind. Play Cryptic Research for 3. And use a lovely pendant to do something, I believe. To evade this enemy. He hunts. Draw a card, gain a resource. Doom and counter cards. Okay, another Tidal Terror. Mr. Rook for lovely Knowledge is Power. And of course 1 resource. Knowledge is Power and my first action to... Yeah, to investigate this. It's fine, I'm not using my ability there. So I'm moving here. Play Bloodright, draw 2 cards, discard this and Laboratory Assistant, pay 2, deal 2 damage to this Byakhee. Second action is going to be play Calling in Favors, take Mr. Rook back to my hand, take an attack of opportunity that kills this Art Student. Search the top 9 for Mr. Rook. use Mr. Rook to draw a segment. Last action is play Bloodright, draw 2, discard Forewarned, and discard Mr. Rook to gain a resource, to spend a resource. This enemy is defeated. Hunter and Hunter. Upkeep. Draw a card, gain a resource. Do number 3, encounter cards. So that would again lose 2 actions and take 2 damage. This time I'm going to play Forewarned on that. Lone Wolf happens. Top 2 cards. Because those are both a segment. So a single Mr. Rook is not enough. My question is, do I want to search for the truth? Which is going to be better later on. I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3 resources to play a pendant. This pendant is going to discover this clue, and this clue is worth 5 shroud. That's my first action still. So my second action is going to be move here. Okay, so the chapel is the lower one. I think I need to advance this now. I want to go above. Okay, first of all, victory points. Victory points are fantastic. I'm going to search for the truth as my third action. Do I want that shuffled in as well or not? Yeah, why not? Hester. Draw 3 cards. This is in the discard pile. Mr. Rook is here. Mr. Rook is going to trigger those 2 things. And he's going to grant us a Forewarned in his Majesty's narcotic manuscripts, and I'm going to take this test, which I'm just going to fail. Damage. Pretty sure I used Pathfinder, didn't I? I didn't use Pathfinder, so I actually have an action. Let's see. Does that change anything? I believe not. I'm just going to play Art Student, discover this clue, and be done. Those 2 come closer. Draw a card, gain a resource. Doom, no. Doom here. Actually, yeah, I wanted to place another Doom here. So it's Doom number 5 now. This is going to advance. And Rift Seekers are going to enter the game. Okay. This is fine. I'm going to fail this and I'm going to place a Doom. Hope I'm right. So, first of all, Mr. Rook. So that's an astounding revelation, and so what do I need to do? I want those 2 clues. I want to kill at least one of those enemies. I already have one calling in favors, so cryptic research it is. And this is going to be another secret here. Now, did I have one more astounding here? No, I have no astoundings left, so I may as well draw 3 cards. Then I'm going to play Calling in Favors on this Mr. Rook. For another Mr. Rook. That's my first action. This Mr. Rook is going to help us a little bit as well. I believe with Calling in Favors. Second action is Calling in Favors again. This time I'm going to take an art student back to my hand and replace that with another art student. So one of those clues goes to me. My last action should be to run around and investigate or something. I actually want to lure those enemies away from each other. So this is why do I want to play an art student? Yes, why not? I'm going to play an art student with my last action. I'm going to play Crack the Case for 2 resources. I'm going to use the pendant to evade this enemy. Evader. So I'm going to move in here with my Pathfinder. And I think that's it for... Yeah, unfortunately that's it. So this enemy I already moved is going to move and attack. Draw a card, gain a resource, and now I unfortunately have to discard cards before I can discard them to Bloodrite. Which is a bit of a shame. Doom number 2, and encounter cards twisted to his will. Okay, that's bad. Let's see. 5 Doom. I'm going to play for Wand. And this is dealt with. Lone Wolf. I'm going to use 1 clue to place 1 Doom and to draw 1 card. I'm going to use Cryptic Research to draw 3. I'm going to use this for 9 again, so 3 resources. I'm going to play Bloodrite as my first action. Draw 2. Discard Working a Hunch and think on your feet. And 2 resources to deal 2 damage. Use Mr. Rook. Draw this card. Play another Bloodrite. Drawing 2 cards, discarding Laboratory Assistant. And knowledge is power. Pay another 2 resources. This thing is defeated. Okay, so far so good. Now I want to draw 1 card. How? Because I believe I may as well just draw 1 card using an action. Last action is going to be draw a card. 1, 2, 3 resources. Play a pendant. And I think that's it. Upkeep. But first of all, this thing moves. He's going to kill my art student. Then upkeep happens. Draw a card. Gain a resource. 1 Doom. Oh, actually I could... Yeah, in that case, I was thinking I want to evade this guy, but actually I want to kill art student anyways, so I'm going to use the pendant for this clue, just to have cracked the case in my next deck cycle. So unfortunately I'm not drawing that, but that's hopefully fine. Actually that's just Shroud 3 right now. Okay, so I'm drawing something else. Let's see. Bloodrite. It's okay. Doom number 4. Encounter cards. So 1 horror for everyone. On me. Lone Wolf. Mr. Rook. 9 cards. Okay, nothing to really help card draw too much. I mean, search for the truth is nice. So I'm going to take that. And an astounding to help Mr. Rook. Okay, my first thing is evade the Tidal Terror. My first action is play search for the truth for card draw. I'm going to use that 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so for 3 resources. I'm going to play Blood Right to draw 2, discard Knowledge is Power, and on your feet. 2 resources, 2 damage. Play Cryptic Research, draw 3. Play Blood Right, draw 2. Do I want to pass that or not? I believe I do, so I'm going to throw Mr. Rook into the test, and that works. Then I'm going to discard Decoy and an Art Student to pay 2 resources and to kill this enemy. Use my Pathfinder to move to this location. Do I want to draw a card? Yes, I do. I'm going to place 1 Doom here and draw 1 card. Upkeep! Draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 6 here. So, Act 3C. Okay, so I think that was right. Open the path above. Okay. If I understand that correctly, or if I remember correctly, I want to advance this as well. Because that is going to spawn the Beast of Aldebaran, and that's worth 1 victory point. Okay, encounter card. Marked by the sign. That's just 2 direct horror. Unless I want to prevent that from happening. I believe that would be fine, but I want to be careful anyways. Using a secret. So I'm going to use Mr. Rook for that. Astounding Revelation for another secret here. And let's say crack the case. And I'm going to commit Forewarned, and I passed that test. First action is going to be play Calling in Favors. To play an Art Student and to crack the case for 12 resources. So far so good. Obviously Lone Wolf. Let's see what else. Could kill the man. Could enter the Abbey Tower, which I believe I want to do. Okay. I am going to... I have 4 clues at the moment. 1, 2, 3. Play Mr. Rook as my second action. Use Mr. Rook to... cryptic research, I guess. What do I even use my pendant for? I don't even know. Last action, play Laboratory Assistant, draw 2 cards. I know I'm doing exactly the opposite of having no cards in hand, but I don't really mind. I'm going to use my pendant to teleport here with a good use of a pendant. And that's it. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Doom number 4. Oh, actually, I want to be at Doom number 5. So I have 2 more resources. And Ancient Evils. I think that's fine. So actually I do advance this turn. And still that has Surge. Beast of Aldebaran and Abbey Tower. Oh, actually it spawns in the tower, so I was moving in the wrong way. Wrong direction. Okay, but I think nothing else. Agenda 3A. Okay, that has Surge. Spires of Carcosa. I mean, that's just an annoying tempo hit, so forewarned it is. Okay. Lone Wolf. Now let's have a look. I think now is the time to get rid of the man. Mr. Rook for working a hunch. Knowledge is power. To my first action is going to be investigate. 4 against 5. I want to be at 7, so I'm at 6. I'm at 7. I passed that test. He is defeated. I'm going to get 1 more chasing the stranger. I'm going to get this clue as well, because I'm up by 2. First action. Second action is, I believe, move here, and then Pathfinder there. Use my segments for a nice little pendant. That pendant is going to say, you are evaded. And my last action is going to be use a blood right, draw 2 cards, discard Astounding and Laboratory Assistant, pay 2 resources to deal 2 damage. So far, so good. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource, Doom number 1, and counter cards. Okay, that is annoying. Spawn of Harley. More things to worry about. It has no hunter, which is helpful. Okay, Mr. Rook, help us out. First of all, Lone Wolf. Mr. Rook, What are you going to show us? The man right over here. And I believe... knowledge is power. Okay. So my first action is going to be spend 1 charge, choose a revealed location, and move to that location. That is going to leave this massive enemy here. I'm going to choose this location. This is far away, or far enough away. My first actual action is going to be knowledge is power, evade this enemy. I'm going to take a horror because I didn't evade up by 2. That's the art student. Then I'm going to pathfinder away. I'm going to do something. Draw cards. Oh no, calling in favors. Call Mr. Rook. Mr. Rook is going to call himself. So that nice helpful Mr. Rook here is going to say something to us as well. It's an astounding and it's a lost soul. So this astounding is going to mean 2 resources. Oh, now I forgot what the other cards were. Let's just say the top 7. I was happy with astounding revelation and drawing weakness. So I totally forgot that I actually wanted to draw a card as well. And Lost Soul, I'm just going to take the test. Oh no. I'm going to take 1 damage here, and I'm going to take 1 damage here. Then let's have a look. I want more cards, I believe. I want to get rid of Dark Pact sometime in the future, but I don't have enough blood rights just yet, so I don't want to do it yet. Well, I'm going to draw 3 with Cryptic Research, do it again. And I'm going to what's going to be my last action here? Draw 3 for Search the Truth? Or just call another favor? Or just play Art Student for soak purposes only? Why not? Play Art Student. It's fine. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. I have 10 cards, which is fine. This thing readies. Doom number 2. And encounter cards. Twisted to his will. Okay, that's against 2. I don't really fancy doing that. Which is why I'm just going to spend 1 secret. Use Mr. Rook. Draw I don't know, the Bloodright, I suppose. Use Pathfinder to move to this enemy and start attacking again. Bloodright, draw 2 cards, discard Forewarned, 2 resources and think on your feet. Now he's at 4 damage. Blood Rite, second action. Draw 2, discard those 2, and 2 resources. He has 1 health left. A lovely pendant is going to say, be gone, and you are evaded. My last action is going to be ice left, no. Play, search the truth, and draw 3 cards. Play those 2 segments of onyx. Upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's fine. Doom number 3, and encounter cards. I'm going to draw a cultist enemy, which is fine. It's going to be an acolyte. And he's going to spawn here. So, the only thing I need right now is a Blood Rite. How do I want to draw cards? Let's see. I'm going to use Mr. Rook to draw this card. This is going to mean 4 resources. I'm going to now play the segment for a pendant, and that's going to say this thing is evaded. Obviously Lone Wolf. Then I'm going to Hester. Draw a card as my first action. And I'm going to take a horror over here. My second action is going to be play Mr. Rook. Use Mr. Rook for Lost Soul, Astounding Revelation, and a Blood Rite. Astounding Revelation means 2 resources. Lost Soul means taking a test, that's fine. 1 damage here and 1 damage on the art student. And my last action is going to be play Blood Rite, draw 2 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gain 4 resources because of cryptic writings. Discard Astounding and crack the case. Pay 2 to kill this enemy. That is looking good. Now let's see, anything else I want to do. I want to discard Unspeakable Oath and enter upkeep phase. Draw a card, gain a resource. That's pretty useless right now. Doom number 5 and count cards. Another acolyte, so we're at 6 now. He's going to spawn here. What I need is being able to discard some cards now. So let's see how I'm going to manage that. First action, get rid of Dark Pact. Defeat the laboratory assistant and take 1 damage myself. if I play Knowledge's Power and discard 3 cards, I actually just win the game. Play Knowledge's Power. My second action is going to be discard up to 3 cards from my hand. 1, 2, 3. My third action is investigate. I'm at 4 against 3. I'm going to commit crack the case. And I'm going to discover 1 clue for the investigation, 1 clue for Mr. Rex Murphy himself, and that is going to be this game. I'm at Abbey Tower. I am. There are no clues there. Resolution number 2. Let's have a look. Resolution 2. Change tokens. Oh, of course. We are having 4 special tokens now, so we're replacing those 2 with those 4. That's important, yeah. I open the path above. And that's it. As for victory points, those are our victory points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victory points. Okay, I'm going to save that. And let's see what 6 victory points will manage to help, or in what way they will manage to help us for the last scenario. Thanks for watching, and I believe that's it. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and we'll see each other probably in the last scenario. Have a nice day.